recording for Kids First, and today we're talking about the new series Growing Up, which begins streaming on Disney Plus September 8th, 2022. And with us are Yara Shahidi and Sophie Yogli. Miss Shahidi serves as executive producer and lead on Freeform's Blackish spin-off series, Growish, which is the #1 cable comedy about 18 to 49-year-olds. She's a director for Growing Up. Miss Yogli, at 17, developed her first award-winning app, Read On, to support survivors of sexual violence, thereby sparking her passion of using technology to serve. She is a hero whose story is talked about in Growing Up. So welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
And so to start off, Ms. Shahidi, what was the process for you for becoming the director of the Sophia episode?
Yeah, it was really exciting because Brie Larson and the Culture House team approached us and approached me about directing an episode, and they wanted to find a topic that I really cared about. And we went through so many different topics. I don't know how many emails and conversations we had, but ultimately we realized that it wasn't a topic we were looking for, but a person. And we were so grateful when they had their first conversation with Sophia, because it all just came together beautifully since we have so many shared experiences. And so it was quite honestly, after a journey of searching for what I was going to direct, it was kismet, and it lined up because I got to talk about my own personal experiences and direct from a place of knowing that I'd gone through so many similar things and trying to find the best way to communicate that with such a large audience. And I was grateful that Sophia was willing to share so much about her own childhood with me and with the world. That it was a really beautiful time.
Okay, so Miss Neely, how did you get involved in the show, and what compelled you to share your story?
Yeah, so Culture House had just reached out to tons and tons of youth on social media, and they were like, tell us no, really, that's what happened. So they were like, tell us your story. And I just gave a couple stories from my childhood. We had more and more calls, and they were like, hey, this is a show that we're doing. Do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, totally. That sounds sick. Then afterwards we had calls with Yara and her mom as well, who I love and is amazing, to sort of narrow down the specific stories that we were going to tell, which I think was really rewarding to be able to sort of like relive that part of my life while also sort of like healing through it, to be able to show the ways that these different experiences impacted who I am now and will be able to impact the viewer in the same way.
So, Ms. Shahidi, what was your reaction when you learned you would get to direct an episode about a topic and a person that you,
yeah. It's funny because my reaction reminded me of how important the episode was, in that I was really scared, if I'm being really honest. I had directed a short before, and even though that was a successful experience, I was going through my own feeling of imposter syndrome and questioning how much I had to offer to tell this story, and whether there'd be people better qualified to tell this story. And that's why I think the episode was so important, because I got to go through so many of my own emotions about overcoming those fears and leaning into my support system and community while telling Sophia's own story about that. And, I think what was really cool about that feeling is that, as scared as I was, it reminded me to get as much support as I could. And so, my family was on set, and I was asking, I don't know how many questions of everybody behind the scenes, and leaning into the fact that there are going to be things that I don't know. But I was also surprised by how much I did end up knowing, and everything that I kind of underestimated about myself.
Okay, and lastly, Miss Oyeli, this show you get to hear all the different people's stories as well as share your own. And what was it like to kind of just sit in the group and hear all the different unique stories?
The group was amazing. I've described this to many people as like a week-long therapy session, because it was like Brie had this binder of every single thing that had ever happened in our lives, and she was like flipping through and stuff. We were like telling our stories. It felt so freeing, I think, to know that so many of the things that I thought I was the only person who ever experienced, Vanessa had experienced, and Claire had experienced. And there were things that Athena experienced that I also experienced. We were like having like our third eye opened, sort of, where it was like, oh my God, growing up isn't this, it doesn't have to be this isolating, super scary thing. It can be this thing that brings so many people together because you're not going through it alone. So it was really, really amazing and really lovely. And I still keep in contact with all of them.
So thank you, both of you, for talking with me.
Thank you.
Thank you for talking with me, Yara Shahidi and Sophie Yogli. Growing Up begins streaming on Disney Plus September 8th, 2022. This is Avalon reporting for Kids First. Be sure to like and subscribe to our Kids First channel so you don't miss any interviews or reviews.